One of my concerns when I'm taping drywall is how it's fastened. Always use screws, don't use nails. We don't use nails at all anymore, really. And the screw needs to be set about 1 millimeter below the surface of the drywall. So it's a slight indentation without tearing the paper. So when I coat this with compound later, we're filling in a slight indentation. This screw is set a little bit too deep. That's probably almost 3 millimeters. And it looks like it has torn the paper a little bit, but when I push on it, it's still pretty solid. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. The problem area is up here. It looks like a screw tipped here and it slightly tore the paper. And up here, I think the tool slipped off the screw and put a little hole in there. So these areas need to be addressed before I can actually put a coat of tape on it. One rule I have for taping drywall is this is basically going to be a repair now, right? It's not just coating the screw, I'm actually repairing a little damaged area. You have to remove all loose material. And also, whenever the paper is damaged, like in this case, it's broke right apart, you need to remove that damaged area. So I'm just taking a knife, I'm just going to cut out the loose material. Even up here, it's slightly damaged. See how that was loose? If I just coated that with compound, it wouldn't hide. It would still show through. So I'll remove that, and then I'll tap it in with my taping knife to get it more recessed. And then I'm going to actually put a little bit of small piece of tape over this to help hide that. Now let's talk about these screws. Like I said, this one here is going to be fine, so I'm just putting the compound on. And one little trick for coating screws is I put it on and take it off. See how I put it on in one direction and take it off in the other direction? It helps me to get a better fill. This upper screw, we've got a little problem because remember there was a little bit of damage. So I'm taking the end of my taping knife and I'm going to just tap that in. So all those frayed edges are now kind of slightly recessed. Just taking a piece of mesh tape and sticking it right over that. The reason I'm doing that is because the paper has been torn. If I didn't do this, that would definitely show through after I've done taping. So now, I'm just going to coat that with joint compound. Pushing it right in nice and tight. And getting it nice and flat. Particular brand is the Ad4's fiber tape, but it's called Perfect Finish. If you see it right there, it says Perfect Finish on it. This is one of the strongest mesh tapes out there. What's unique about this particular tape is, if I hold it up like this, you can see the weave is actually quite tight. And it's very thin and very strong. That's what makes this extra strong, is the tightness of the weave. My friend here who's shooting a video for me was saying how easy I made that disappear. And the trick to that is, I'm just gonna kind of start over on it. I put the compound on and I got it embedded. Now I want to get that thin, so I take my knife and I just press it tight. See how I'm pressing it nice and tight? By tight, I mean how flat my taping knife is as well. See how flat it is? When I'm trying to smooth compound out and get it nice and tight, I keep it flat. If I was keeping it on edge, I would never get it that smooth. And also, when I'm trying to smooth compound out, I don't start in the middle. I always start off of the compound. So if I'm going to smooth that out, I'm going to bring my knife in from around the edge, up from the bottom. Those are little tricks to help get that smooth. And my goal in this particular case, keep it thin over the actual repair itself, and to keep the outside edges nice and feathered in. I thought you might enjoy seeing this. It shows how the pros finish fasteners very efficiently. I want to show you a little technique I have for coating fasteners. You might think, I see this happen a lot. We coat one string of screws and maybe we go back to our trowel and take it off. But if I'm showing somebody how to tape, teaching them how to tape, one of the first things I have them do is all the fasteners, because they get used to handling the mud and it's not the most important job. But what I try and teach them is, you don't need to keep coming back to your trowel or your hawk. You just need to put enough compound on your knife And then I'm going to be able to do all these fasteners without coming back to this trowel at all. So now you can come back and clean your knife off. That's the most efficient way to coat your fasteners.